Hello and welcome to this video. It's not going to be a permanent thing, me doing DCS News, but I'm here doing it now. I've got some things to say and let's get into it. I deliberately waited a day so that everybody else who does this kind of thing has had their time and views and whatnot, and this is just to me to get something off my chest. So coming in, here's the DCS newsletter. And the first thing that we see, let me try and zoom in and make this a bit bigger on everyone's screen, is... I'll try and scroll a bit more carefully as well, that they're announcing this new plane, this MB339A and then there we go. Now, I don't mean to insult anybody who's maybe doing this. I've certainly never heard of such plane. Does that mean that therefore it's rubbish? No, but I'm going to hazard a guess that most people until reading this had never heard of this plane before. And let's have a look what it is. It's a single-engined, twin-seat jet trainer and light ground support aircraft which entered service in the early 80s. Well, here's the mystery to me. DCS has already got two of these. They are the least used aircraft that are in DCS, with the possible exception of the MiG-19. Why make a third? And I get it. The guy maybe started doing this as free and then decided to charge for it, or whatever the backstory is. I don't follow it too closely. It's just a mystery to me why this would be done. We are also pleased to share more exciting progress made by our third-party partners, Magnitude 3, that are doing this Corsair as well as their Essex-class aircraft carrier. So I'm guessing that Magnitude 3 are doing the carrier as well as the Corsair. This is exciting stuff, bringing a carrier into the World War II arena as well as a carrier-capable aircraft. And I know you can land pretty much every World War II aircraft, if not all of them, on the carrier. I've not tried landing the I-16 on a carrier, but certainly I'm able to put all the others on a carrier without too much difficulty. This, however, is a proper carrier plane. I'm looking forward to this. Check out the screenshots below, as we will do. As the new year kicks off at full power, we're excited to announce some splendid progress on basically a bunch of AI aircraft. We hope you find the dev shots interesting, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your passion and support, Eagle Dynamics. All right, all that is good, but do you know what my problem is with this? If we come over to the newsletters, here we are, the day before Christmas, December 2021, and a whole bunch of stuff regarding the VIG in here. We are delighted to share some good progress on the Apache. We're currently working on this and we're confident you'll be impressed. The Apache was supposed to be, if you released, remember, before Christmas. So here they are at Christmas basically saying, oh yeah, we're working on it. But here we are halfway through January. There is not one word about the Apache in this newsletter. Not one word. And for those people who have bought this ahead of time, and I'm one of them, you like to hear at least something. Now, I know there's going to be some people that say, oh, well, that's your fault for buying pre-release and yada da. All right, I hear what you're saying. But at the very least, they could put a word in, right? This is Eagle Dynamics. I'm someone who's invested into DCS. I've got every single module that they do. And when this kind of thing happens, where they're not even saying, I get it, sometimes things fall behind schedule, I get it, but to not then say anything, this harks back to 12, 18 months ago, and, you know, all the thing with that super carrier, which was that whole time period, and I know I had a message deleted that I said about this on the Eagle Dynamics forums, but this is my video, and so I can say what I like, and that is that aircraft carrier is... and has been, in my opinion, basically the example of the worst thing that Eagle Dynamics could have done. And I know since then they've totally upped their game, don't get me wrong. They're a million times better than they used to be. But if you go back 18 months, 2 years ago, that whole period, those people that were there know that was a very dark time for the whole... just for DCS generally. They'd only just released the F-16 and the JF-17 round about at the same time. There was 1,000,001 bugs and they were rushing out new features. And then while everybody was complaining about a game that didn't work, instead of Eagle Dynamics addressing that, they come along with an aircraft carrier, which then also didn't work. And it was later and later and later. And here we are almost 2 years after release, and we've still not got some of those functions that they said in that carrier. In fact, if I was to ask you what's changed with the aircraft carrier between now and when it was released 2 years ago, I bet you'd really have to scratch your head to think about what those changes actually were, because they've been that few and far between. Let's get on with it. Here's this MB339A. So those of you that fly DCS, you know the L39, as well as the, what's that? The C101. This is basically L39 C101 mixed together, right? And you can see with what it's carrying under its pods, it's exactly the same. And yeah, so here's some stuff, basically aerobatic and whatever. Apparently capable of the only jet aircraft capable of performing this particular move. What is that move, you ask? I have no idea. Let's have a look. Search Google for this maneuver. The best ever. So whoever's this video belongs to, please forgive me. Sorry for the advert. I don't have it on my channel. I do have YouTube Premium, but I'm not going to put my channel on this. Is this the world's best ever? Let's have a look. So you pull up to the vertical, do a roll, sort of 2 rolls, falling back down, slide back down. Wow. Okay, and that's the only jet aircraft that can do it. Clearly this is a prop aircraft, but holy moly. Wow, okay, that looks fun. If they can pull that off without scripting it, then amazing. If they have to script it, then it's going to be, well, it'll look good, but you know it's going to be the same every time if they script it. So let's hope they do that. Wow, okay. That I do look forward to seeing. Might be worth trialing that aircraft just to do that maneuver alone. It aims to be the most realistic simulation of this aircraft ever made for the PC. Well, I doubt that's difficult, because I don't know that too many of these are simulated for the PC. Yeah. Okay, let's moving on. The Corsair development report. Looks nice. Looks like we're at the Marinas Islands here. It's working on the detailed cockpit and warnings which should reflect which specific lights are turned on. Well, yeah, that's what cockpit lights are for. So you know which ones are turned on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Perhaps somebody said this in Russian and it got lost in translation somewhere along the ways, because, yeah. Their intensity and phosphorus radium glow variability of each instrument. Okay, I definitely think that was said in another language and somebody's ran it through Google Translate, because that is not... That's worse English than how I speak, and I'm from Yorkshire. The airframe's damage model is the early stage of development, whereas the flight model and systems are mostly complete and have been fine-tuned to a high degree of realism. I always take that with a pinch of salt. How many times have I... And this is now, by the way, no criticism of Eagle Dynamics. I was somebody who, when Microsoft Flight Sim was in development and they were saying that it was going to be the most realistic because 10,000 points around the aircraft are going to calculate drag and lift and all this in real time, and I was like, wow. And then it came and it was the most unrealistic game ever. It was like an arcade game that was worse than FSX, if anybody here remembers that. In terms of realism, the SX class carrier is nearing completion and features working lifts. Oh, this is, I think, what got me going about that carrier. The working lifts, it's like, yeah, and what happened to our working lifts? I know the AI can use them, but what about the players? And a detailed hangar, functioning hangar. Oh, I've heard this before somewhere. The final stage of development for implementation on the hydraulic catapults using the bridle cables is being worked on. This will be exciting. I'm sure that little red triangle out the front of that is to represent something about the work in progress. Perhaps it's a visual representation of some kind of force or something. Look at all these anti-air guns, if that's what they are. As well as some sort of mid-sized battle cannons as well. So this here is... wow. If they get all these guns firing and we can drop this down in the mission editor, oh my goodness, can you imagine the videos that are going to come out with that? And then last but not least, the 3D Viking. So this is the tanker, right? That is... looks like they're working on it, and here's a bunch of, well, I guess that's something like those, what they call those 3D CAD kind softwares. I never use them, but it allows you to make this kind of stuff. We're happy to provide you with the progress for the these AI. They will be available for free. Well, yeah, they always were. So I don't think you could get away with charging people for 3 AI aircraft that replace existing aircraft. That I just don't think you could do that. I mean, perhaps you could get 50p for it. I don't know. To say it's going to be available for free is kind of a obvious statement, in my opinion. Kind of like the Clouds update was available for free, and every time there's a new update, it's available for free, right? I mean, I'm not sure what that statement's even about. I'm sorry, in the above, you may notice the open bomb bay sections used to carry GP bombs, torpedoes, and other special stores. And there's a link to more screenshots. Let's take a look. In development. Wow, the B-52. That looks that looks better than the original, even without paint. That looks incredible. Oh, that is something else. Okay. That will be fun. Spoilers, Bombays. Oh, that's for the S3. Nice. I assume the Bombay doors is usually where the sort of the fuel tanks go when it's on refueling duty. I don't know that. I'm just going to hazard a guess that when it's not on, I mean, is it, I guess in an emergency you could use it for bombing, but I knew that they could be. I knew that they could be, but I don't think it happens very often. I think if you look it up, it did happen at some point in the 80s, but it's not this isn't typically the aircraft you'd send in on a bombing mission unless you were bombing harmless civilians, which, let's face it, wouldn't be entirely unheard of now, would it? Oh dear. Wow. Look at all the stuff in the hinges. That's almost overkill. You know, that's when the frame rates start and suffer and you begin to wonder. Anyway, let's not complain till we see it. I'm certainly not complaining. I know my system can handle it, but I also know that not everybody has the latest and greatest, and this kind of stuff is what causes them. Of course, I guess at some point you've got to catch up with the times, haven't you? So let's, again, it's detail where you as a player don't notice the detail, but you notice the hit on your performance. That's detail where I think it's over the top. And they did have that problem with the channel map. They had like picnic tables where the cloth was folded in multiple ways around the picnic table. And I'm thinking, how many extra polygons have you added in there to not just have a cloth on the table, but have the cloth folded in multiple different ways around the same table? And it's like, and you're repeating that for object after object. This is going to lag like anything. And of course it did, and they fixed it, thank goodness, right? But to me, this kind of thing's obvious up front. Even though I'm not a specialist on designer, I know when they make too many. And so it's obvious, right? You know it. The more polygons, the more power it needs your computer to calculate, the more stuff that's going on anyways, and then pointless stuff to calculate, it starts lagging. But these models look amazing. And there's the M339. Certainly looks nice, don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering with the L39 and that, and do you know, I mean, again, I do get every module apart from the dual wing joke, which I never will get. Even when it's free, I won't get it because it's a joke, right? It would be like buying a hot air balloon to go around DCS in a hot air balloon. I mean, one's got absolutely nothing to do with the other. Is it possible to do? I'm sure it is, but really, come on. And this, however, I don't know. I'd like to see how it is. Maybe give the trial a go. I mean, that's what's great now with the free trials, right? You can try stuff for free, and then if it's any good, you can buy it. So I think that's certainly a way. Cockpit. Immediately looking at that, I'm thinking F14. You know, the style of the switches, the color of the and the texture here of the cockpit. Yeah, that's F14, isn't it? Looking at that. Wow, okay. I mean, I know it's not the F14, but it reminds me of it, right? So coming back to the news, and that's the end of it. So as you see, absolutely nothing was mentioned about the Apache in there. But I chased this up and found indeed there was a comment by somebody pointing out the same thing, and they had a reply, and it said, and I'll quote it here, it was by Big New, I'm sorry, I can't remember the rest of his name, but the Eagle Dynamics guy, and he said, providing there's no further hiccups and unforeseen things, they aim to have it released at the end of January. In other words, in the next update, yeah? They seem to be knocking out one of these every 2 weeks. So it could be that in 2 weeks' time, fingers crossed, we get our Apache. And again, if it's a bunch of rubbish and it ain't ready yet because whatever reason, I'm happy. Delay it another 2 weeks, whatever. Just let us know. You know, yeah, we were hoping to release it, but turned out to be a bunch of tosh. We had to get back into the programming, and flight model was all messed up and the radar was all US. And anyway, coders are looking into it. We hope to have it done in the next 2 weeks, but thought we would let you know. Just this not saying anything business. Don't work well. Don't bide well. I know I've waffled on and on. That's the end. Take care. Bye-bye.